What's up?
Welcome to Black Man
Black
Lab.
Man Lab.
We are live October 19th, day before a special day, by the way. We are live this week. We are having a great conversation. I've got my brothers, brother Fred Parham with me, as well as my brother from another mother, lifelong Howdy David. I am going to be on here periodically, but I'm actually going to be run the show. I'm not letting the issues do it. That's what we do. We help each other out. So, Mauli, what's happening, bro?
What's up? What's up, bro? Almost happy birthday, my friend. It's almost time, man. You get ready to turn a secret age.
I'm dyslexic, so it's 35.
That's right. That's right. Hey, well, excited about tonight, about art, the importance of art, and the perspectives that Black men have on art, something that we don't always cover, we don't always cherish and lift up, is the importance of art in the lives of our community. And so we have some powerful artists that can share. And Brother Fred, you getting ready to get us started out, brother? Get us in the right frame?
Yeah, it's good to be back tonight, man. You know, I'm getting comfortable in this co-host seat, Brother Miles. And but let me shout out to my brother Marty, man. Happy birthday, brother. You know, we fall kind of. You a Scorpio or a Libra or any of that?
Libra. I'm a Libra.
Libra. Okay. Yeah, my birthday is on November 1st.
Right.
yeah, coming around the corner, man. I might come down there to Florida myself in a different part.
Awesome.
But anyway. Man, like you said, Miley, tonight's a big show. I mean, when I think about art and Black men, I think about one of the few spaces where we own our image and likeness through, you know, hip hop or visual art or all kinds of expressive type art. So looking forward to a great show tonight, man. And like we do, you know, we get centered first as we get ready to commune and open up to what we have to hear tonight, man. So I would just ask the brothers all who are listening or tuning in, just right now, kind of get in a position where you're comfortable and just take a deep breath, kind of 3, 2, 1, and exhale. Let those shoulders fall, man, and just let the day drop. And just get ready for a great show tonight, Miley. So let's go. Black Man Lab.
So in Black Man Lab, we have rituals, and we believe in the power of our ancestors and standing on those shoulders. And so we want to just for a moment acknowledge those that have come before us, those that have come this way, have done great work, that we build upon their work, that opened up doors that were formerly closed to us, that have given us energy that we needed, and that energy continues to carry us. So we want to start with just, if we could all just think about somebody in your family. You know, you had a grandfather or you know, a papa or, you know, big mama who, you know, made incredible sacrifices so that you can be here. They prayed for you. They looked out for you. They held you down, and they have made transition. So we just want you to just clench your fist and think of them, and then we affirm that energy by saying Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
So then we want to just take a moment to think about those ancestors that we consider national ancestors, ancestors who they did work for all of us, the Marcus Garveys, the Ella Bakers, the Fannie Lou Hamers, the Sojourner Truths, the Ida B. Wells, so many who just laid it out, Gil Scott Heron. And we want to just take a moment and again, clench that fist and just acknowledge those energies. Ashe.
Ashe.
And then lastly, and you know, we recognize that there'll be a day that will make transition, and that those what we call beautiful ones not yet born, those our great grandchildren, we just want them to know that we attempted to do our best work and try to pave a way for them to come this way and not have to do what we had the ability to take care of in our lifetimes. And so for those that are not yet born, we just want to affirm those energies that are going to be coming forward into this space. We just say, Ashe.
Ashe.
All right. Thank y'all, brothers. Let's rock and roll. The everybody's relaxed. Everybody's ready. The energy is right. And so we just want to jump right in and go to our artists. And I just want to start out, and then I'm going to turn it over to Brother Fred for a follow-up question. But I just want to start out with, as artists, when did you realize that you had a gift that needed to be shared? What triggered you? You know, how were you supported in being an artist? So Brother Cecil, it looked like you moving around. Are you in a position to rap? And then we've got Andre and we got Brother CA. So let's start with the elder statesman. Brother Cecil, can you jump on? Are you there?
Brother Cecil,
I'm right here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
all right, well talk to us. Can we see you? Or are you in the middle of doing some art right now?
hold on 1 second. I'm gonna turn it like I need to turn it. Can you see me?
Yes, sir. We can see you.
Yeah, we can see you now. Now. So talk
moving
to us. Are you?
But I'm used to
it looks like you're trying to get set up, man.
Yeah, I saw some other artists painting and pouring and doing stuff. I'm like, I could be working too. So
that's what I'm talking about, brother.
Brother Cecil Bernard, man, tell the brothers and sisters that are watching Black Man Lab around the country, give them the background. Tell them how you began the work and what you've been able to do with art. Give us a few minutes, and then we're gonna jump it over to Brother Andre and then to Brother CA.
Okay. Well, what I can tell you is that I think it's so important that artists have this opportunity, because you're not any bigger than your narrative. Your narrative is so important. Just being able to say who you are, where you came from, why you do what you do. To your question, though, about when did I know? And you all can hear me okay, right?
Perfectly, brother. Perfect.
Okay, good. Uh, uh, I would say I was 17 when I knew I had to give to the world. I started doing it when I was 5, and I was in class, and the teacher asked us to draw the serpent that Moses held up in the wilderness. So he held it up on a stick, and so I was the only child to use the ruler to make my stick, and so mine looked the best. I was sitting next to the cutest girl in the class. I've been sitting next to her for 2 months in the first grade. She was the cutest girl in the class, and I was the fattest, dumpiest boy in the class. So she had never spoken to me, which I didn't expect her to, and I didn't look for her to. But the teacher, when she said we have an artist in our class, evidently, and she said he did the best. I'm gonna put it on the bulletin board right here. And the little girl turned to me and said, "Oh, you're an artist." And then I said to myself, "I am now." And so I've been drawing ever since. I went home that evening. I said, "Hey, I need some art materials. I'm an artist." And not only did I become an artist, but it let me know how when you talk to young people, it makes a difference. If you affirm them, if she had not put that on the bulletin board, I don't know what I might be doing today because I wasn't that much better than other kids. But jumping in at 5, of course, I was doing it every day. After that, I'm just, I went all in, and I was the middle of 5 boys, and it was 7 kids, and so I was the most ignored. I was the ugliest of the 7 children. I mean, things changed later. Then they came back to where they were, but that's beside the point. But the point is, I got some positive attention from what I did, and then it helped me in everything else I did, whether it's athletics or scholastics. I was still the artist, and so when I was 17, I understood what kind of money I could make, and I was selling it in junior high. But the money made a difference. I saw that other artists were millionaires, and didn't see that in any black artists. And I talked to some black artists, and they didn't affirm me or even the art world. They just kind of, yeah, it's gonna be tough. I don't know. You better try to get a job. That was sound like what my dad was saying. So my mom told me to go for it. And she studied piano in college, classical piano, and she didn't get to live her dream. She wanted to make sure that mine didn't die. So my grandmother and my mother were very instrumental in getting me, going, and I started making money, and I knew that this is what I was gonna do.
Nah, that's great, bro. Uh, so let's hear from brother Andre. Tell us a little bit about your inspiration.
Thank you, everybody. And that was a great story. I really enjoyed the backstories. Mine is similar in the sense that I kind of stumbled upon it. I grew up in a house where my dad painted and sculpted for his passion. And he'd come home every day, and we grew up in a house with original paintings on the walls and sculptures, clay sculptures before he would have it cast. So for me, it was just natural to have art in my space. When I started getting ready to go to college, I knew I was a talented artist because I would always dibble and dabble with whatever he's doing. And he started getting me my own supplies. But I hadn't seen a model of a professional artist who made a living as an artist. So I had limited time to graduate from college with the support that I had from my mom and dad, which was 4 years. My mom almost laid it out there. I'm the middle of 5 kids, and I have a younger brother who's also an artist who's 13 years younger than me. So my mother used to threaten me with, if I didn't make it in college, it was okay, because she needed help babysitting. So that scared the living H out of me. And it required me to really focus in on what came natural to me. And other than art, economics came natural to me. So I ended up majoring in economics and came out, had an amazing job in corporate America. Then I looked around in my new space and I didn't have any art. So I decided I was going to create my own work for my space, like my dad. And all of my friends who were in my circle, when they would come over, they would talk about the art on the wall. So next thing, I started selling the pieces that I really love to different people. And I said, you know what, maybe there's something to this. If I ever sell more art in 1 year than I did at my day job, and at that time, that was 30 years ago, I was making $50,000 a year, which was a lot of money back then. But it took 8 years, where after 8 years, I had started discovering my own fingerprint as an artist, and pretty teaching myself on top of something with this. So at the point where my art sales had equaled my day job, I decided, well, shoot, I've got double the money. And I was fooling myself for about half a year in thinking that additional revenue was going to satisfy me. But the truth was, what it really taught me was I had proven to myself that I could support myself with my passion. And it was only the next step to take the full jump and the leap of faith of leaving the golden handcuffs of corporate America and become an entrepreneur as a full-time studio artist. And I was afraid. However, I kept thinking about the 9 hours every day I was spending at someone's office helping to make them more successful and more rich. So when I calculated, if I spent those 9 hours plus the 5 or 6 I would stay up after I got home from work, I could probably do something. And it really is an example of how after, and as long as you're passionate about it, you can create whatever you want. So shortly thereafter, being a studio artist, I began organizing shows for a lot of my fellow artists. And one thing I realized, there weren't a lot of identified that need of a shortage of platforms for artists of the African diaspora. And 15 years ago, we opened Gallery Guichard in Bronzeville, and very excited that we've been able to help over 50 artists celebrate their work and connect them with collectors. And it's just been a great journey. Our mission is to create platforms for artists and collectors to meet, but we have a variety of ways we do that with public art and corporate contracts.
Man, that's a great story, Brother Andre.
Thank you.
And yeah, and let me say, you touched a lot of points that we want to dive into, but I want to give Brother Eric and CA an opportunity to tell us a little bit about their backstory and what type of art they're involved in now. Go ahead, Brother Eric.
Hey, how you doing today, brother? Thanks
Man,
for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you. My journey with art really, like a lot of people, was, when I was a kid, I made arts, but I never thought of it as something that could be a career. When I was in college, one of my best friends, his father was an artist, professional artist. He had told us about him, but it never really sunk in until we went to visit him in New York City. I was probably 18, 19 years old. That was many, many years ago. And when I was there, I met individuals whom they were interested in what I thought about the world. They were interested in, and I had never really been around people that weren't part of my generation that took me serious, even though, at that time, at 19 years old, where a lot of times it took me serious. They were really interested, and that's how my interest in the arts was originally peaked. I wanted to be around more people like that, that understood the value that people could bring, even when that person really didn't have a tremendous amount of life experience. They still understood there was something there to be learned, or something there that they could glean from what I was doing. So I decided I wanted to major in art. I went back and because I was at that time I was on full scholarship playing basketball for a Division II school called University of West Georgia. I wasn't thinking about making no. I was the farthest thing from my mind, But I was in bid. My major was business. I thought I wanted to be this athlete and then give back and be part of the community through an athletic channel. But when I met those people, it made me really interested in the arts in that community. So I changed my major right away. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was very lucky that at the time when I left University of West Georgia and walked away from my scholarship, people thought I was crazy, but I knew at that time I had enough sense to know I wasn't going to become a professional basketball player. That this had presented me with an opportunity that fascinated me. And so I followed it. I ended up getting my BFA in painting and a Bachelor of Fine Arts in painting, a Master's of Fine Arts in painting. And my journey still went for different twists. Even after that, I exhibited. I was collected by museums. I had some major projects. But along the way, because I was in business, my parents were entrepreneurs, I was always comfortable in that space. And when I was surviving as an artist, I was also teaching at community-based arts organizations and that sort of thing. And I loved impacting children and bringing stuff to others. And from that, somebody said, hey, you ever thought about art administration? There's a job at such and such place. Would you think about doing it? And it was running this mural project for the Brandywine printmaking workshop. And I did it. And while I was doing that, his wife says, hey, they're looking for a head of the arts for the Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration Corporation. And that's how I got into art administration. Once again, it was one of those things, and I've been doing arts and arts administration probably all the way up until like 2002. And it was at that point where, it really came to a point where I had an opportunity to do art administration, running a cultural organization that was at a pretty significant level, which led me eventually to where I'm now as president of Harlem School of the Arts. And what's amazing about what I do now, and what's interesting is we just completed a $9.5 million renovation to our building. We have 37,000 square feet in Harlem. That a building that was conceived by our founder, Dorothy Maynor, who was a renowned opera singer, a peer of Marian Anderson's. And she founded Harlem School of the Arts because she felt like the arts could help Black and brown children at that time in the 60s, 1964. What was happening in America in 1964. You take what we dealing with now and you inject it with the most powerful steroid. That's what that was. And she did that in the basement of St. James Presbyterian Church, but she had the vision to buy property and get the architect to build this 37,000 square foot facility. Wow. And, so I would say right now, what I end up coming to, just to wrap it up, as I don't want you to get to your next person, is that there was a point in which I thought I had to choose between making art and being an arts administrator and bringing arts to people. And a good friend of mine who was a writer on the arts and named Halima Taha told me, she said, Eric, your art is about how you think and how you problem solve, period. Not just with what we do creatively, but the creative process. And it hit me, at the end of the day, and that's what our founder realized, is that the core skills in artists is higher level thinking. It's critical thinking. It's creative problem solving. It's, learning to be a master communicator and collaborator. In particular, when you expose to the different art forms, those are the things that are going to crystallize in you as a human being. And you can use those in a powerful way, no matter what you do. So I always say to people who they'll say, oh, my son or my daughter, they love to move, we want to get them in dance, or they're always drawing. I said, we don't say that when we bring our kids to reading or math.
Right.
My kid is always doing calculations. I think I want you to show them how to be a mathematician. I say that to say the arts are essential to human development.
Absolutely.
Whether you're going to become a professional or not, it's essential. So, you know, when we see somebody aspiring in that way, and I just want to say this as a Black male, is that, you know, it's getting that support. When I went from the athletic space to going into the arts, you know, people, they want to add a little jokes. And bottom line is, the creative space is open to all of us. You know, and I think one of the things that's important is Black people, in particular Black men, is that we support that.
Absolutely.
You know, that we support that and allow that, because you know, I don't think you get any closer to the creator than being creative.
Yeah.
You know, so thank you.
Nah, brother Eric, I agree 100%. And man, an amazing story, and where you sit and just that story. I'm anxious to dive into your background. And you know, brother CA, we want to get you in, the artist, just to give your intro, and welcome you to the call and our viewers tonight. You may be on mute, brother. We can't hear you.
Good evening, brothers. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yes.
Hey, thank you. How you guys doing this evening?
Doing
All
well.
right.
Great, bro.
Doing
Good to
well.
see you, man. Used to see you in the YMCA with us.
Hey,
No doubt.
yes, sir. Good seeing you guys. Just brief history about how I started and the type of work I do. Really, I started off to be an engineer in college. That was not my passion, but I had a passion to draw, and I did a lot of downtime sketching things out. Found that to be something that was really helpful for me in terms of just, um, you know, giving me a freedom to release in different ways. So I enjoyed that. Few people noticed my work, my talents. In fact, the company that I had worked for during the time I was in college, one of the architects or the senior engineers at the time noticed one of my sketches and commented on me being an artist. And at that time I didn't really consider or call myself an artist. So I was like, okay, wow, that's dope to be called something that he would admire. So he said you should examine, going further and, into learning. Long story short on that, I started to experiment with creating different artwork for family, friends, and all of that. And it expanded and grew quite fast.
I think we lost him, Mildly.
Yep. I think he froze.
Yeah, he froze.
Brother CA, you don't seem to have a good strong connection. Let's bring Brother David Manuel in. Brother David, come on in, bro.
Friends and in the market, I was, lost me.
Yeah. Brother Manuel, can you hear us? You may be on mute. Check your audio.
This is the video close.
Come on, CA. You're
can you hear me again?
It's better.
We can hear.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right. Sorry about that. So, where was I? In experimenting with different styles, I did portraits and building cityscapes. I really developed that into a strong category of work that I started to produce over the time, and led up to me moving to Atlanta to expound on that and showcase my work to a bigger audience. And I guess 15, 20 years later, I am here. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how I got into the art world. and exploring it continuously.
Thank you, brother CA. We appreciate you, brother. We want everybody to try to see if you all can get in a stable location, because what you're saying is so important for these listeners. Let's go to David Manuel. David, talk about your role in the art space and your journey, brother. David. I see you, Dave. You're not. If you're talking, we can't hear you.
Hear you.
You might be frozen. Yep, you're not muted. Man, we having all kind of technical issues.
Man,
Marty
you know
done,
how
done
it is.
rigged the thing on us, Fred.
Nah, you know how it is,
All right.
bro.
Well, yeah, he's gonna
Okay.
come back and log back on. Let's keep. I do
Yeah.
want to. I want to, if we could, Fred. I just want the brothers, the artists, and thank you, brothers, for sharing what you shared thus far. I just want you all also to kind of know why we started the Black Man Lab. It really was an effort for us to affirm, and the theme that I keep hearing from all of you is that you needed that affirmation to become the
Yeah.
artist that you are. And you got it from different places, whether it was from dad, whether it was from I guess the first grade girl who called you an artist, but the affirmation. And so Black Man Lab is all about affirming Black men in our completeness, not in any kind of stereotypical way, not in a narrow sense, but in as broad and deep as we are as brothers and as human beings. And so I would love for you all talk about one of your highest moments in as an artist. What has given you your greatest joy or an experience, or whether it was a sale of a piece of art or just a compliment from someone. Just talk a little bit about that, because we just like to hear those real powerful stories. We'll start with you, brother Cecil. It looked like you really in there working, man.
I'm working and enjoying the dialogue. It's incredible. The only thing that's missing is that we're not on television on ABC on a special. That's all this missing. This is some awesome stuff, and these artists, they're just saying some things that every artist can feel. That little journey thing, that transitional period where you go from where you were to where you are. I can tell you, there were several, I guess, bridges to being where I am now. I circumvented the traditional artist route. I completely self-educated. When I was a senior in high school, they let me take college art. And so while my friends were doing it one way, I was doing it another way. And I still had made the commitment to be an artist, though, and to make that, what I thought was some money, and I did. But there were a couple of turning points. But the first one was, uh, you know, relating to the basketball player. I played a lot of sports. I grew up in Texas, where sports was king, especially football, basketball, especially football. And so I
Yes,
was out,
yes.
out, out at the Cowboys practice field, because I was with them all the time. And one of them asked me what I did, and I told him I was an artist. And so he wanted me to do something for him. And when I did it, he showed it to somebody else, and then they wanted something. And, I found out that they were very uh, cliquish. They don't trust people. And if one of them says you're all right, then you're all right. And if one of them says don't fool with him, it's over. You need to leave. And so I just happened to be in the right place at the right time with my talent. and some doors opened, and those names would drop when people saw me. They say, he does art for some of the Cowboys and that kind of thing. And then uh, started selling art to some of the Mavericks. But that one football player that bought that art the first time was kind of a turning point. And then, they wrote articles about me. The first article was
Who
when I was 18. Is somebody gonna say something?
I
who
think my
was that first cowboy?
Robert Newhouse.
Because I've been at Robert Newhouse. All
house.
right,
Hey,
fullback.
yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
That was my guy.
There you
yeah.
go.
So
That's
then the article they wrote about me when I was 18, that I was going to be an artist and a preacher, and made the Dallas Morning News, which is the largest newspaper in Texas. And so walking down the street the next day, and somebody said, "Did I just read about you in the paper yesterday?" And I, since that was the first article written, I forgot about it. And then it let me know that what I'm doing is it's what I need to go ahead and be more serious about it. And so that was one of the turning points. Also, the article that was written, which was written before I sold the art to the football player. And then there was another article that
mm,
was written, which was which was which they lied in the article. They said that I had sold art to Bill Cosby and Oprah Winfrey, and that's not. When they were interviewing me, I told them the people that I sold art to at the time, which was Lou Rawls and a bunch of people that was back in the day in the 70s and 80s. But I told them my goal is to sell art to Bill Cosby, Oprah Winfrey, and all these other people that can afford it. And when they wrote the article, they said I had done it. And so, when people would read it and say, "Man, I didn't know you sold art to Bill Cosby," and I just said, "Don't believe everything you read." And of course, they thought I was trying to be modest, but I wasn't going any further than that. I didn't. When I read the article, it was very flattering, and most articles will either make you look better or worse than you really are. So I took that one, and it made a big difference in my life because it was a big article in a in the major newspaper there. And then the first time I had a client spend 6 figures on me, that was the ultimate turning point, and that changed my life.
Man, that's a
appreciate
crazy. Yeah, man, that's crazy. And anytime you can say you were at the Cowboys practice, that meant you were in my hometown. I
So
was
you
born and raised. Yeah, South Oak
are
Cliff.
you kidding? Really?
Yes, sir. Wilma Hutchins High School, man.
Oh my goodness, Spud, man, that Spud is one of
Yeah,
my favorite clients.
Spud Webb, man, big mentor to me
Hutch,
as a young person. Yep, old
are
Hutch.
you kidding?
Yep, yep. But more interesting is your story and being connected to Newhouse, man. That's big. And bro, I see Brother Emmanuel's on the call, man. Welcome to the call. And before we jump to other brothers responding to Miley's question, I wanted to get Brother Emmanuel in for an introduction and kind of your role in the art world.
Okay, can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Good to
Okay,
see you,
good,
bro.
good.
yes.
Good to
Good
be
to
here
meet you,
talking
bro.
about something I live for, the arts. Good to see my brother Cecil Bernard out there too doing his thing. And Cecil owed me some artwork, so Cecil don't think I forgot it. I like the
Wait,
pants, but you owe me some artwork, bro.
before you even finish, David, I was showing somebody that art today, and I said, "This is the biggest and tallest piece that I have. It's like 9 feet long. So you need to come over tomorrow, and we got you covered."
I got you. I feel you. So anyway, brothers, I got my start, in the early 70s, I thought I could draw. So I was always drawing while I was in class. And, growing up in the 70s, we drew comic book figures and stuff like that. And then I started taking it a little bit more serious when I got in high school, and I auditioned at this school called the Alabama School of Fine Arts, which is in Birmingham, very similar to the school Fame in New York. And
Hmm.
I actually got accepted, in visual arts. Went there, graduated, got a scholarship to Atlanta College of Art, came to Atlanta. Atlanta College of Art is no longer, it's now SCAD, and it was located at the Woodruff Arts Center. And while I was an artist, they always say starving artist, so I had to work. And so I was a bartender for the Woodruff Arts Center while I was in school. And I bartended at the Symphony and Alliance Theater, met a lot of influential people. When I graduated, I started working and freelancing. I was working for a company, magazine called Fast Forward Magazine with a brother named Shaka Kusaidi. And I was one of his art directors, worked for Atlanta Business Chronicle. And then I started doing freelance work because everybody know the freelance work is where the money is. And I had a contract to come up with a new label for Vlasic Pickles. And I stayed up all night working on this artwork, 4 a.m, trying to come up with concepts to present in this boardroom to a lot of people that just didn't look like me. And I stayed up all night. I wasn't happy with what I produced, but I went to the boardroom and I even told the guy, I said, I'm not proud of this, but I'm going to give you these drawings. And then I left, and I left the freelance and art world for good. And I started working at the Woodruff Art Center. And so I was around so many artists. And if artists wasn't just what you drew, it was the dance, it was the acting, it was all the arts that came back to me. And then I kind of grew up at the Woodruff Art Center. So I'm around the High Museum. I eventually became a director. I was able to put together programs and fund programs for different cultural communities. And that was great for me because the colleges, the art colleges are spitting out young people every year that are competing. And I knew my talent wasn't as good as the new person coming up. So I never wanted to be that old dog hanging on when you get all this new talent. And so I found my niche being able to work with artists and provide a platform for them to showcase their work. Fast forward, I left the Woodruff Art Center after 20 plus years as a director. They never made me VP. So I had a conversation with God and said, hey, I'm about to leave. And I left without any other job. I was out on the baseball field coaching my son. The next thing I know, I had someone call me saying there's an art center in DeKalb County that doesn't have any programs. We would love for you to look at it. I'm in some shorts and flip-flops. I went there one night, sat in, saw about 20 violations, and I just prayed and said, is this my next journey? Interviewed, got the job, been there now. This is my 10th year. God has blessed me to have a stage and platform to just bring different artists, especially artists that look like us, to give them a chance to have their dreams take flight. And right now, a press release just came out in DeKalb County where we have the CARES dollars, where we're giving artists in DeKalb County who's been affected by COVID from the month of March through December. They can apply for these easy grants up to from anywhere between $5,000 to $20,000. So when all this is over with, if you live in DeKalb County, you're an artist or you know an artist, they need to apply for this money because it's really worthwhile. And that's been part of what I do now. I provide a platform so that artists can showcase.
Wow.
Thank you, my brother. We appreciate you, my
Thank-
Aries brother.
That's right, right. Phase brother.
That's right. I want to turn back to Andre, and it would be helpful, brothers, if you all can, because we've got this national platform now. Just tell folks, where you live. I know brother Cecil, you started in Texas, but you now reside in Atlanta. David
Right.
started in Alabama, but he now resides in Atlanta. Andre, can you just say where
Chicago.
you're? Yeah,
Bronzeville. Go Bronzeville.
Bronzeville, Jeffrey Manor, bro.
All right, South Side.
Yes, sir. So Andre, talk about, some of the things that you would consider high water marks in your journey, in your experiences, things that just make you give thanks for being able to walk this walk and do what you've been able to do.
That's a good question, and my story is similar to my fellow artists, but I'm also a self-taught artist. And I think in my introduction, I started the journey up to leaving my job and becoming a studio artist. And it was after those 8 years of kind of what I call my graduate school of finding myself, perfecting my craft, and building a client base, I was at an impasse because I really felt like I was on a chicken circuit, for lack of a better word, because the upside potential of what I could do as an individual was limited. And even though as a studio artist, I was able, in my studio, able to build enough of a clientele to solidify that an artist can make 6 figures a year. But I realized if I could make 6 figures as an artist, what if I considered partnering? So one of the major high water marks for moving from that space as a sole proprietor, individual artist in my studio to what I would say an enterprise, which has grown, was embracing partnership and help. And the first watermark was a young lady who said, you know, I can hear your dream as it relates to all the different revenue streams that you've been able to do with working out of your studio, traveling around the country to different fairs, but that this whole dream, nobody can believe it unless you write it down. And writing it all out, writing out what my vision of the work that I wanted to show, the type of artists I wanted to have represented in a gallery, how those revenue streams all operate, was the beginning of a business plan. And the business plan was what we needed for banks, other investors to really take your dream serious. So just having someone write my business plan professionally so that that bank would even look at it, step is of understanding being in business and partnering. While partnerships are good, partnerships are a marriage. So you have to find the right partners. So my wife, who's an artist, and our business partner, Stephen Mitchell, we are a collaboration of artists, art collectors, and art administrators, which really brought a different kind of view to the art scene in Chicago. So 15 years ago, the second watermark was transferring an idea written on paper to a physical space on 35th and King Drive in the heart of Bronzeville. And everybody told us, you know, you wouldn't 75,000 because it was the heart of what they considered the ghetto. And on the South Side, because they were supporting me as an artist, but as a gallery, $500,000 a year wasn't a big deal anymore. So the whole concept, if I could do something by myself, what if I collaborated, held true? But then another watermark was the first recession. So this is our second recession that we're in, but that first recession was a mother, because so many of our clients in 2007, 2008 were invested in real estate. So when the first recession came, the housing market dropped and all of our clients went south. And it literally was a serious conversation. I know a lot of African-American galleries closed, and we were looking in the face of necessity and the mother of invention. And I looked at why we were hurting so much is because we had so many of our clients were consumers, regular people like you and me. So when things in the economy hit them, it hits the Black community like the flu. So it was at that point that we actively started looking at our relationships to change our corporate contracts and how many corporate contracts we could add to offset when consumers aren't purchasing. And, you know, I'm a spiritual person, call it God, but that same year after everything went south, a client who we had just met at a fundraiser in a hotel downtown, which was one of the revenue streams that we did, we moved shows around. We met what I would say an art activist, and she purchased work, she commissioned me to do the work, but at the time she was a diversity manager at Walgreens. And she was truly motivated to make a difference with small businesses in the Walgreens chain, which at that time maybe 8 years ago, there was only 0.1% of Black businesses for all the products you saw in the Walgreens store. So it is so hypocritical that they're in every corner, at least in our neighborhoods, but such a small segment of business was actually given to Black vendors like us. So long story short, we were able to, through her guidance in navigating the vendor relationship as a retailer in Walgreens, create 5 canvas bags with 5 of my images in 7,000 stores. And that was the first time I saw a check for $750,000. And I think that just kind of said, wow, but you know, this could maybe really go somewhere. But after that, it was more about the grind of, you know, really trying to live up to the whole African diaspora. So we started traveling to the continent and bringing bridge exhibits back. So realizing, coming from an industry where you only saw attorneys and insurance people, that was pretty much all you see, to an industry where you meet doctors, lawyers, business chiefs, other artists, the best gifts to be able to create something that makes them feel good and then get a friendship out of it too, but also make as much money as you want and be passionate about what you're doing. So those would be some of the watermarks. And then lastly would be the space we're in now, because right now we moved from our initial location. We were there for 9 years, and we applied for a bid that was part of a nationwide program called the Neighborhood Stabilization Act. And they did it in New York, Chicago, a couple cities. And what they did was they would take old buildings and introduce art with development. So this building, the Bronzeville Artist Lofts, is a 30,000 square foot building with 16 artist live workspaces on the 2nd and 3rd floor and 7,000 square feet of gallery space on the bottom level. But winning the bid where they gave us the $7 million grant against some very big names in Chicago, Theaster Gates and a lot of other big names, was probably one of the last watermarks that keep the fire going. So that would be my response.
Thank you. Froze right at the end, brother Andre.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Repeat that.
No,
Yeah.
I ended on that.
So, and I see the time, Maui. We gotta be man, but we gotta get I gotta hear from Eric on the question and CA watermarks. I love the term, bro, Andre. Come on, brother Eric or CA.
Hey, okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, probably my first mark, and there's several, as an artist, was in 1999. I was living in Brooklyn. And by the way, since we're saying where we're from, I grew up in Detroit. That whole journey of when I was at University of West Georgia, I was in Georgia, in the Georgia Atlanta area for the 80s, from 81 to 89. But when I left, graduated from school, now I'm in Brooklyn working, and I had an opportunity to apply for a public art project for the MTA, which is the subway system in New York. They were redoing 3 different subway stops, and that was the first time and the only time I've won a major public art commission. I designed 29.
You're muted, brother Eric. You muted yourself.
I'm sorry. Am I back? My apology. It was the first time I won a public art project to design 29 faceted glass windows. Me and my wife had just was about to be married, and that's a high watermark, because the commission I won from that was the down payment on us buying a house in Brooklyn, which was huge. I mean, that's still biggest thing ever because it's, you know, asset wise, we don't own anything more valuable to this day than that house. And winning that commission made that possible. So I always got to tip my hat to that. But after that, I would say as an administrator, you know, just seeing the thousands of kids that we've given voice to at HSA is, I mean, it's just no better feeling, you know. And the people I say to me, you know, because more recently, I'll just say this, and maybe I'll get a chance to share it before we leave. So we redid our space. We did a renovation. Our building was built in the 1970s. So I was able to present a vision to Herb Alpert, the trumpet player and one of the founders of what used to be Annam Records. And Herb, to the brother's point, you know, in terms of dollar, Herb donated $9.5 million for us to do a facelift on our building. So we put a 1,800 square foot glass curtain wall that's on a 5-degree slant for the acoustics. One of the top acousticians in the country came and worked on it. And when it was all said and done, you know, it's a high watermark. I mean, but it came, you know, the project is completing literally now, and here we are. You know, I sat in there the other day with the art and architecture writer from the New York Times, and I can't bring people into the space yet because of COVID, you know, which is huge. But at the same time, you know, we're bringing him in. So it's like, you know, we had this one wall that's huge, and I'm like, damn, we need some artwork on that wall. You know, I can't just let it be no big blank space, you know. And, you know, so I thought and realized I had two huge pieces that I had made for my thesis exhibition for graduate school. And so we went and got them from the house in Brooklyn and hung them. And it sort of is reawoken because all these people like, who made that? You know, and you know, they, you know, people I haven't, like brothers in the studio, they haven't seen me like that. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, making art or doing exhibits in quite a while. I did my last solo exhibit in like 2003, you know, and I'd been on the art administration tip ever since. So it's been interesting. So putting that up in that building, you know what I mean? Because to me, the vision to open that building up to me is art for me. You know what I mean? You know, because now, as I said earlier, you know, art is about being creative in our lives, you know what I mean? You know, and so taking that creative process to whatever I do, you know, for me now, that's bringing art to people in the community. We deal with the performing arts as much as, even more so than the visual arts. And I've seen students of mine, of ours, I should say, you know, on The Voice, you know, on Broadway, you know what I mean? And, you know, just recently you read and realize he wasn't our student at the time, but Lenny Kravitz designed, you know, 10 design a piano for Steinway, and they're making 10, an addition of 10. And he's given part of the proceeds to Harlem School of the Arts because he went there as a kid. I didn't know Lenny had went to HSA. But those are the things for me that are high watermarks, you know, is just seeing that, you know, I've had an opportunity to make a difference in some people's lives, you know, in particularly young people. And every time we're able to help a young person find their voice, and so often the arts can unleash that. I've seen students come in our theater program, a young lady with, you know, on the autism spectrum, who hardly would say one word. By the end of the program, she's doing the curtain speech at the end, you know. So I've seen some of the miracles that can happen when we allow our children in particular to just have freedom in expressing themselves with the creative process. So that's two watermarks that were meaningful for me, brother.
Thank you, Brother Eric. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. From the D, let's jump in with CA. CA, the artist, brother. Talk about a couple of watermarks, and then you all, we got about 13 minutes left after that, and I just want to have you all prepared. We always ask, what are your habits, rituals, or disciplines that have you on this panel, that have put you in this space, that have put you on this, that keep you going. And so, we're gonna ask you all to hit it quick, um, so that everybody can get through and talk about their habits, rituals, and disciplines. So, CA, come on in and talk about your high water marks, brother, of just the things that on this journey that you just want to pause and give some love up on.
Well, yeah, one of my high water marks I would like to say I just recently experienced.
You sideways.
Sideways.
Wait, let me get this right.
There you go.
We can see you now. Thank you, brother.
So one of my high water marks recently just experienced was a commissioned mural piece for John Lewis Invictus Academy, their school. They commissioned 3 murals from me to produce in their lobby of the school. So ironically, I was approached before his passing. It was the week of his passing.
Wow.
And what they wanted to have done, we were talking and seeing how quickly we can possibly start on the project. Obviously, we knew his condition at the time, just so he can have a chance to see the finished product. And unfortunately, he passed during the whole scope of the project. But that was a big high water mark for me to have that opportunity at that particular time, to first to be sought after to do the project and to be as relevant as the artist working on the project at that particular time. So that's a high water mark for me. Another one is to be on display at Black Man's Lab. I would like to throw that in there. I love that opportunity. That's a high
Honor to
water
have
mark
you.
for me.
We appreciate you as our resident artist.
No doubt, bro.
Hey, thank you for the opportunity. And there are a few others. Being commissioned or having a solo exhibition at the Fulton County Government Building. That was December 19. I had that opportunity. I was informed to be the first solo exhibition in that particular gallery space in the Fulton County Government Building. So that was a high water mark to be commissioned by the Fulton County Arts Department. A couple others. I met President Obama while he was in his second term by way of my artwork. So it was one of his campaign stops here, and an appointment or appointee of his was a client of mine and knew I had a portrait of Obama, and he said, well, I've been invited to this this event. I would love for you to come and see if maybe you can bring the painting and maybe you could see it, and all that happened. So that was a pretty good accomplishment for me as well. So I actually got to meet a sitting president, and he actually signed the original piece of artwork. So that was pretty dope, and that was a good high water
Where's
mark.
that piece at, CA?
Yeah,
You've been holding that one back. You haven't brought that piece to Black Man Lab.
That's the safe keepers. I keep that tucked away. I know it's an autograph. I know when I pull that one out. Yeah. So yeah, I'm saving that one for a good day. So I have that piece. I'm gonna have to bring it out though. I'm gonna have to show it off. But definitely those are a few. I know, and for the sake of time, I didn't want to run long. But yeah, I
was just gonna say, brother, while you on, go ahead and give us your habit, ritual, and discipline that sustains you.
One of my rituals
I get up early in the morning. It's more like 4:45, something, 5 o'clock. The first thing I'm doing is writing my thoughts. I like to write, journal a little bit, plan out of a day. So if I have something I want to plan out, I kind of go ahead and sketch that out just loosely then. I used to more than now, but need to get back to it, is do a 3-mile walk. I used to do that every day. I haven't done that in a while. Got out of my routine a little bit, kind of, been slipping. But that was a routine that I really enjoyed at that early morning hour. Um, so those are a few. Continuously making notes of my progress. I like to kind of note where I started, where I'm going, and where I want to end up. So I kind of journal that out as a ritual in order to kind of, inspire to look at my progress as I grow. So those are a few.
We appreciate you, brother. And for all the young listeners, man, this panel just amazing story. So we want to continue down the panel with Brother Eric. Give us, a habit or ritual or a piece of guidance that you give the young people there in Brooklyn that you could share to this audience here at the Black Man Lab.
All right. Well, they were now in Harlem at the
Oh,
Harlem School of
Harlem,
the Arts.
pardon
That's
me.
it's
Yes,
all
sir.
good. We got nothing but love for Brooklyn, but gotta hold it down for Harlem. Let me just say this. As an artist, one of the things I learned was we gotta value our time. There
Mm,
would be moments when I would go to the studio and my wife say, "You going to the studio?" I say, "Yeah," but you only can be there for like 20 minutes or a half hour. I still would go.
mm,
It was just a matter of, going, and even if it just meant looking for 10 minutes at the work
yeah,
so I could work mentally. So I say that's one of the things is use our little time. What may not seem like a lot, if we get in a habit of when we have opportunities to engage with the process, to we have opportunities to be engaged with the process to do it. The other thing I would just say is, really don't live your life in fear. Choose faith. I believe in the power of attraction. You need to see what you want it to be. And one thing that's amazing about the arts is that it's one of those spaces where essentially, you working from your mind's eye quite a bit. So we work in a space that requires faith and belief. So fear can't be an option.
right.
Every story I heard from the different brothers here today, they made choices to do something that wouldn't have worked if they allowed fear to dominate their mindset. And the last thing I would say is understand your process, and surrender to the process, the creative process, and, understand how you got to that result.
I love it.
Because at the end of the day, everything we do from raising our kids to becoming a lawyer is a process.
Process, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's one of the first things that we control, particularly as human beings, when we're little, when we're making something, when we're creating something. So, mastering our process and understanding that and understanding the value that it brings to you. So
Love it. Love it.
thanks again for having me. I appreciate it. And, you know, thank you to everyone else. I really appreciate being part of this group today.
Man, love to have you, brother Eric. Mobley, you look like you were going to say something, but you're muted. But if not, I definitely want to get Andre in with his habit, rituals, and disciplines, and then round it out with our brother Cecil Bernard here.
Thank you, brothers. Before I get into the habits and rituals, I did want to just coattail off that last conversation. I thought it was so real as it relates to process and doing things and understanding how you do things. But after you understand how you do it and what you're doing, pay attention to the market, particularly if you are in a for-profit scenario where you're selling work. I see a lot of times where artists will do something amazing, get a lot of response. And if they're only selling the original, it's only one. And then they go on to something else. But what I found to be really helpful is identifying things that you do naturally and well, and continue to do those things that you like and the market responds to. So whether that's creating a series out of that body of work and building on it and having tangents of a conversation of that same conversation when you started, but you're getting better, which allows you to still be free as an artist, but don't stop doing the things that were making you successful. So that was another big one. And then lastly, understanding your creativity is not just for the art. Your creativity as an artist, you're a problem solver. So you have to embrace your creativity and applying it to everything, to marketing, to COVID, to getting new customers. The same way you approach that canvas and you think about balance and color, we have to get more into the spirit because we are creative people, to use your creativity in your business. And the pivot for us this year since COVID, because in March, everything dropped again. And looking at what the rest of the art world was doing to make people feel like they were in an art space, I started noticing they were using slideshow technology, which was part of why people didn't buy a lot of art online, but fit with the technology that's used in real estate. That technology and being creative with technology, we now are able to allow people to come into the gallery virtually 24 hours a day and literally walk around and see paintings. But that creativity made the difference from this being a time that you see a lot of suffering, and now focus is eating healthy every day with, I start off with a totally green breakfast, and gives me a lot of energy and actually pushes me through the end of the day. But then following up on my calendar with any commitments that I've had, deadlines, and then balances, because with the for-profit business where grants aren't your sole source of income, making sure you're hitting the revenue goals each week, every day. Where are you at? And understanding if my target is 50 or 100,000 for the month, that breaks down into a day of revenue. So those are some of the things that I try to do. And then attacking every day and multitasking, like the brother said, because time is the biggest enemy now. So one last story, when I first opened the gallery, artist friend of mine said, I'll give you 5 years before you're not able to be an artist and a gallerist, because the demands of your time for closing deals, relationships, other artists is so much. So I push myself to make sure I can create at least one piece every exhibit in the gallery artist area, because the creativity of creating is the creativity that drives the business. So that's what I'd like to say.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Miley, David,
is David hanging in there with us?
that's what I was trying to find him, brother. I don't.
There it is. Yeah.
You see him? Okay. Okay, great, David.
Jump in and give us your habits, rituals, and disciplines.
Well, I also want to comment on something Eric said, to all the young people out there. The journey is the process, and you have to find time to really enjoy the process. If I was to highlight two things that was really, a pivotal point in terms of my career, was when I was at the Woodruff Art Center, which is the third largest art center in the United States, and it happens to be here in Atlanta. I was able to create a program called Celebrate Diversity Through the Arts, which I brought in different cultural groups to the Woodruff Art Center, because back in the early 80s, there wasn't a lot of people going to the symphony and the Alliance Theater that looked like us. And so putting together a program that partnered with the Latin American Association, the National Black Arts Festival. Then the National Black Arts Festival was able to get a 5-year contract with the Woodruff That means they had to have at least 5-year guaranteed support. These were all big monumental things that my program actually put together. Another thing that I did was a pivotal point. I wrote a book called I'm a Father, which highlight and celebrated African-American fathers. And the book cover and one of the pages is actually in the YMCA that's hosted by Black Men Lab,
Yep.
with Andy Young and his brother, Walter Young. And so those were moments that I really enjoyed the process. Now I'm also being a curator, or at least associate curator, with Donate Life and Lifelink. They're putting together an art exhibit with the faces of transplantation. And so people who've had a transplant, we're doing a photography exhibit, kicking it off in Macon, but we're going to travel it. And I was chosen as being one of the curators to help put this together. But what I would say with the young people is, when you wake up in the morning, put your plan together. I go for a walk. Now I just started going to the driving range for golf just to get away so I can have a conversation with God. And the question that I always ask every morning is, how can I make a positive impact on people, on my community, and on the world at large? Please give me those answers as I travel through my day. And so now I really pay attention to the process and not the finish line. So that's the nugget I would leave with the young people. Enjoy that process.
Well said, Brother Manuel.
Well, brothers, we have exhausted our time, but we close again in ritual. If you can take yourself off of mute, we like to link arms. So what we would do typically is that when we're in person, we're all linked up and we have a saying. It was given to us by one of our organizers, Injiri Alghani, Queen Injiri Alghani, who organized here in Atlanta, was originally from Detroit. And she would say, and we repeat it together, I am a link in this chain.
I am a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
I am a link in this chain.
I'm a link in this chain.
I am a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And
it won't break here.
We are links in this chain.
We are links in this chain.
And we won't break here.
And we won't break here.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Thank you, brothers. Thank you all for blessing us. Thank you for doing the work that you do in letting the Creator's force live through each of you. Thank you so much.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Oh, Brother Bernard, come on.
I was supposed to close it out, but I didn't. So I want everybody's phone number that's on this line right now. So who do I need to get that from?
Same here.
All right, we'll get a text together. Brother Marty has some of the numbers. I have some, and then we'll put them together so we can connect you artists up, man. Thank you, brothers.
Thank you,
We're
brother.
gonna make that happen.
Yes.
Thank you,
brothers.
Man,
Appreciate
thank you
that.
for what you do.
Thank you, brothers. A pleasure.
Peace.
Blessings. Keep strong.